Dying in the way of Allah expiates all things except for the trust. Abdullah related that the Prophet said, dying in the way of Allah atones for everything except the trust. The person of the trust is brought, and it is said to him, fulfill your trust. He will say, how, O my Lord, when the world is gone? It will be said to him, take him to the pit, hell. He is taken to it and falls onto he reaches its floor, and there he will find it, the trust he did not fulfill, in the same form as it was. He will carry it, placing it on his shoulder and ascending with it in the fire of hell, until he sees that he has come out. His feet will stumble, and the trust will fall. He will fall in its chase forever and ever. He said, the trust amana is in the prayer, the trust is in the fasting, the trust is in the ablution, the trust is in speech, and most severe of them all, deposits, which ones gives to another to hold safely for him for a certain period. He said, I met Al-Bara and said, do you not hear what your brother Abdullah ibn is saying? He said, he spoke the truth. Sharik related it through a different chain without mentioning the trust is in the prayer and the trust is in everything, and his chain is good. Yet neither Ahmad nor any compiler from the six related it. Nonetheless, there is a hadith related by Muslim from Abu Sa'id which attests to it. A man said, O Messenger of Allah, suppose that I were killed in the way of Allah, being patient, seeking my reward from Allah without turning my back to the enemy, would Allah forgive for me my sins? He said, yes, except for the debt. Abdullah said, when this was revealed, verily you, O Muhammad, will die, and verily they too will die. Then on the day of resurrection you will be disputing before your Lord. Az-Zubair said, O Messenger of Allah, will what occurred among us in the world in terms of particular sins be repeated upon us? He said, yes, they will be repeated upon you until each person of a right receives his right. Az-Zubair said, by Allah, the matter is then severe indeed. In another narration, Abdullah ibn Masud said, the nations are on their knees for the taking of the account. At that time, they will attach themselves more to one another than they did in the world. A father with his child, a child with his father, a sister with her sister, a husband with his wife, and a wife with her husband. Abdullah then recited this verse. There will be no kinship among them that day, not they will ask of one another. Not they will ask of one another. Ibn Dunya related that this narration. Umar reported that the Prophet said, the owner and the owned slave will be brought, as well as the husband and the wife. The owner, the owned, the husband, and the wife will then face accountability until it is said, you made a proposal to so-and-so, and then I married you to her, and then I left you both. Abdullah related that the Messenger of Allah said, indeed, Allah will call the slave on the day of resurrection. He will remind him and repeat, You invoked me on such and such day until he will repeat upon him what occurred afterwards. And you said, marry me to so and so, and he will mention her by her name, and then I married you to her. The same is related from Layth ibn Salim, from Abdullah ibn Salam Jabir, related that the Messenger of Allah said, the disgrace ignominy will adhere to the slave on the day of resurrection until he says, for you to send me to the hellfire is easier for me than for me to endure what I am facing now. By Allah, He knows what is in it, the hellfire, in terms of severe punishment related by Ibn